the fuck was going on. This shit. Like they didn't want to let a nigga go live or some shit. That shit crazy. Niggas having the most. Fix these motherfucking screens. Things there. Let's see. Everything's still alright. Yo. Nah, that's shit what I'm gonna do it. Lucky I'm lagging, bitch. Swear lucky I'm lagging. Let's see what I gotta do to fix this shit. I'm gonna do a little research real quick while I'm online. Some bullshit. But shit, I know it ain't my internet. Look like memory usage. I don't know.
Hello everybody, this is Pun, the Frugal Streamer, and I have a video for you. I think a lot of new streamers need to understand this, and this is a video by request that discusses what to do when you're having issues with your live stream. OBS Studio is a very powerful tool that gives you a lot of information that you can use to troubleshoot with, so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, make sure you check me out on my socials, on Twitter at Frugal_Streamer, and if you want to check out my live stream at twitch.tv/the Frugal Streamer YT or YouTube. Alright guys, so now let's jump into the video.
Motherfucker talk too much.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get right into the issue here. Now first of all, if you do not have this stats window, this is where we're going to be focused today. If you do not have this displayed in OBS Studio, go to View and go to your docs and hit Stats. You can also do it here, but I like to have this display because this is a great troubleshooting tool if you're having issues with your live stream. So we're going to focus on three areas. We're going to look at drop frames and frames missed due to render lag and skip frames due to encoding lag. Alright, so what is drop frames? Okay, drop frames is strictly your connection to your Twitch server and the health of that connection. So if you're dropping frames, it means there's something going on between you and the Twitch server. It could be something internal, could be your router or your modem, or it just could be congested traffic between you and the server location. So I would recommend you find the most healthiest server that you can stream off of. You should do this before you start a live stream. And sometimes it may not be the closest server to you. For instance, I stream to the Ashburn, Virginia server a lot of the times. That's the closest one to me. But sometimes there's a lot of congestion in the DC area with internet traffic. So sometimes I may actually switch my stream to Atlanta, which gives me an actual better stream, even though it's further away. So there is a couple apps out there. I'll provide links in the description below that you can use to test the servers before you go live, so you'll understand what the best server is. Okay, so now let's talk about these other two areas, frames missed due to render lag and encoding lag. Okay, so you can lose frames by having a GPU that's overloaded or an encoder that's overloaded. Okay, so render lag is your GPU is having a hard time rendering things. And this is all related to your preview in OBS Studio because your GPU is doing a lot of work with Windows. If you're playing a game, it's rendering frames in your game, and if you're live streaming on a single PC, it's also now having to do your preview. And if you have a bunch of layers like I do in my source list here, media files, that sort of thing, all these different things that need to be in this preview, it has to render all of this stuff. So if you have animated media files like my camera frame here, and it's constantly moving, well, that's stuff that has to render. A lot of times your GPU will get overloaded. Now there's an issue with OBS Studio and Streamlabs OBS right now, in that Windows has a hard time prioritizing what your GPU should be rendering. So by default, it's going to prioritize your game over everything else if you're playing a game. But if you run OBS Studio and Admin, they've added a fix so that Windows can prioritize OBS. What will happen is it will affect the performance of your game a little bit, and you'll lose some frame rates out of that. But I think that's a better option than losing your quality of your stream if you have a bunch of frame skipping, people aren't going to watch. So that is render lag. There's another way that you can kind of minimize this. Is you can actually go and if you click this right here, then you'll see the preview is just that gives you an idea, of one way that you can lower the work that your GPU has to do. Streamlabs OBS calls it performance mode.
You doing all this fucking talking? You ain't doing no showing, bro.
This is mostly an issue for single PC live streamers, most dual PC live streamers.
Like, come on, bro.
Or if you're on a console and you're using PC to stream, you shouldn't have an issue with render lag, unless you might be using it.
Hi everybody, this is Jeffrey, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm
Damn,
going to do a small
that nigga
guide
talk
for
for
OBS
about
Studio
29 minutes, man.
Streamlabs OBS to fix all the stuttering problem that you have and also the encoding overload. So first of all, if you're running, if you have like a 64-bit CPU, make sure that you're running the latest OBS Studio version with the 64-bit version. And also, if you're running an NVIDIA GPU and you want to stream with the encoder on it, so the NVEC, run this as an admin. So right click on it, run as administrator, click yes, and open it. So this is normally will fix all the streaming encoding overload that you probably have if you're playing, I don't know, Apex Legion, The Division, and stuff like that. So it will help you a lot. Second thing that I recommend, on any of your sources, so for example, the video capture, my camera, make sure that you check the deactivate when not showing. Really important to do that. Same thing with your source browser. So go over there, shut down source when not visible. The thing is, sometimes people have a lot of different scenes with a lot of different sources, and everything will run in the background. You really need to make sure that you're just running the one that you want to show. So this is really important. I saw a lot of streamers that didn't understand like why the OBS was taking like 45% of their CPU. So this is huge. You really need to do that. Also, when you play a video games, make sure that you're running the game capture. Don't go with display. Display is taking a lot of resources. Display is for taking the whole thing. You're just in your, I don't know, in your window and you want to show something to someone. It's not that bad. But if you want to play video game, make sure that you're using the game capture. It will save you a lot of resources and your game will be a lot smoother. After that, we will go to settings. So the first one, make sure that first of all your Twitch or YouTube, whatever that you want to use is set. Now the output. The first one is the encoder. If you have the NVIDIA NVEC, just use that. It will help you a lot. You will see that your CPU will be at like 0.7% usage, 1% usage. That's really good because it's using a dedicated encoder on your video card, so you're not touching your CPU when you do that. The quality is a little bit lower maybe, but if you have the latest one, like the new one from NVIDIA with the new RTX card, you're pretty much on par with the CPU streaming at medium. So that's really good, honestly. So really important to do that. If you're doing that, for the preset, normally you can run easily max quality, look ahead, psycho visual tuning with profile at eye. But if you have issue with encoding overload, go with quality and uncheck those two. Because normally at quality, and if you uncheck those one, you will probably just use the encoder on your card. But when you click those with max quality, you will touch a little bit your CUDA core, so it will touch your GPU. So for example, if your usage is at like 100% when you play Apex Legion and you're asking more from your video card, you will probably get some like encoding overload and skipping some frame when you're streaming. So this is where you can change it and make sure everything is fine. For bitrate will not necessarily make your computer much smoother, but it's for your viewers. So make sure that you have your upload. I will put a link down in the description of my video what Twitch is recommending, but for sure if you have 10 Mbit and more of upload, you can easily run 6,000 the maximum from Twitch, but really depend on your connection. If you have to run the X264, so now you're streaming with your CPU, again adjust your bitrate, but the most important preset that you really need to look at is the CPU usage preset. For sure, if you have like a 4-core, 8-thread, go with something like very fast. You gotta make sure that, first of all, that your stream is clean and you're not skipping frame and your game will still be smooth. If you have a really good CPU, like something, I don't know, like a Ryzen 3900X, you can easily do medium. And if you have like an 8-core Ryzen 3700X, go with fast, or even maybe medium. I didn't do the test on that one, but fast will be good. So this is pretty much where you can change your parameter. If you're going slower, it will take more resources and it will be a lot tougher for your CPU. So this is where you change your settings. So I will go back to this. After that, resolution. This one is really important also, the output and the number of FPS that you want to send. Honestly, don't go too crazy with this one. If you go 1080p at 60, the image quality is decreasing a little bit because you just upload 6,000 bit rate. So go with something like 900p or 720p, and you have the FPS value. If you have issue with your stream, for sure lower your FPS. Go at 30 and go with something like 720p. It will help you a lot for your resources. Don't go too crazy if you're like streaming on a laptop with 4-core and 8 threads. So for sure go with 720p and 30 FPS. It will help you with your game, and it will help also your viewer to have like a smooth stream. For the filter, I'm using the BQB, by the way, to people who is asking me which one I was using. So this is pretty much it. So this is pretty much it for the guide, guys. It's not necessarily a guide how to stream with OBS. It's more like how to fix your issue with OBS. If you have any question, all the stuff that I told you about is working on Streamlabs OBS also. And if you have any question about it, just come in the YouTube section. Post me any question about like stuttering that you have, encoding overload, all kind of problem that you can have with OBS. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace!
Every time someone tells me they have issues with their stream quality, lagging, or stuttering around, I always answer the same question.